Ever heard of a colony disappearing without a trace? Well, buckle up, folks, because we're about to dive into the enigmatic story of the lost colony of Roanoke. In the late 16th century, the English made their first attempt to establish a permanent settlement in the New World, on Roanoke Island. This was a time of exploration and discovery, of new lands and new cultures. But it was also a time of great peril, of unknown dangers and uncertain futures. Roanoke was to be England's foothold in the Americas, a beacon of civilization in the wilderness. The colony was established in 1587 under the leadership of Governor John White. It was a bold venture, fraught with challenges from the start. The settlers faced harsh weather, scarce resources, and the constant threat of conflict with the native tribes. Yet they persevered, carving out a life in this new and unfamiliar land. Then, something strange happened. In 1588, Governor White returned to England to gather supplies for the struggling colony. When he returned 3 years later, he found the colony abandoned. The houses were dismantled, the fortifications were intact, but the people were gone. Over 100 men, women, and children had vanished, leaving behind no trace of their fate. The only clue? A single word, Croatoan, carved into a tree. Was it a message, a cry for help, or perhaps a sign of where they had gone? The mystery of what happened to the Roanoke colonists has puzzled historians for centuries. So, what happened to these colonists? Did they simply vanish into thin air? Or is there a more, shall we say, colorful explanation? Could the answer to this centuries-old mystery lie in the often overlooked history of a group of mixed-race people known as the Melungeons? Could a connection be found in the rolling hills of Southwest Virginia? But that, dear listeners, is a tale for another scene. So stay tuned as we delve deeper into the shadows of history and uncover the intriguing secrets of the lost colony of Roanoke. Now, let's shift our focus to a group of people known as the Melungeons, living in the hills of Appalachia. And guess what? Their origins are just as murky as our lost colonists. The Melungeons, an enigmatic group of mixed-race folks, have been the subject of speculation and intrigue for centuries. Nestled in the rugged terrain of Appalachia, their origins remain as clouded as the misty peaks they call home. Some say they descended from Portuguese explorers and Indian. Others argue they're the offspring of Native American tribes and African slaves, while a few even suggest they're remnants of ancient Phoenician sailors who crossed the Atlantic long before Columbus. These theories, as tantalizing as they are, stem from the Melungeons' unique physical traits and cultural practices. They're known for their dark skin, often described as olive or swarthy, coupled with light-colored eyes and straight hair. This combination, unusual amongst the predominantly European and Native American populations of the region, has only added fuel to the fire of their mysterious heritage. Their culture, too, is a fascinating tapestry woven from various threads. They speak English, but with a distinct accent and vocabulary that some believe echoes older languages. Their music, dance, and cuisine are a vibrant mix reflecting influences from Europe, Africa, and Native America. This cultural amalgamation, while beautiful, only deepens the mystery of their origins. Now you might be thinking, okay, so they're a mixed-race community with a rich culture. What's the big deal? Well, their existence challenges the simplistic narrative of early American history. Their presence in Appalachia, long before the great waves of immigration, raises questions about who was here, when they arrived, and how they interacted with the indigenous populations. Some researchers have even suggested that the Melungeons could hold the key to one of history's greatest mysteries, the lost colony of Roanoke. Could they be the descendants of the colonists who vanished without a trace, their fate etched in the cryptic word, Croatoan? Could there be a connection between the Melungeons and the lost colony of Roanoke? Well, hold on to your tinfoil hats, because this is where it gets interesting. As we venture further into the rabbit hole, we discover some intriguing links between the Melungeons and our missing colonists. So let's play a game of connect the dots, shall we? It's time to shine a light on the theories that suggest a connection between the Melungeons and the lost colony of Roanoke. First off, let's take a look at the shared physical traits. The Melungeons, a mixed-race group of people, are known to possess physical characteristics that are, let's say, hard to miss. Dark skin, blue or green eyes, and a tendency towards certain diseases, all traits that were noted among the colonists of Roanoke. Now let's move on to language. You see, the Melungeons speak a form of English that's been described as Elizabethan or Shakespearean. And guess what? That's right. The colonists of Roanoke were from the Elizabethan era. Even more intriguing is the fact that certain words used by the Melungeons are not found anywhere else in the English language, but were common in the dialects spoken by the Roanokers. And then, of course, there's the word Croatoan. Carved into a post at the deserted Roanoke colony, this word has been the subject of much speculation. Was it a message, a distress signal, or, as some suggest, a clue to their fate? Interestingly enough, Croatoan is a term that has also been associated with the Melungeons, thought to be a tribal name or a place of origin. So, shared physical traits, linguistic similarities, and an enigmatic word that ties them together. It's like a cosmic jigsaw puzzle, and the pieces, my friends, are starting to fit together. But let's not get carried away. After all, these are just theories. They're fascinating, sure, but they're also unproven. Still, they make you think, don't they? Coincidence? Maybe. But then again, we're not in the business of believing in coincidences, are we? Now let's bring Southwest Virginia into the mix. You might be wondering, what on earth does this have to do with our story? Well, you're in for a surprise. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're going on a little detour, all the way to Southwest Virginia. Picture this, a region nestled in the Appalachian Mountains, teeming with history and mystery. But what's really intriguing is this area's connection to our Melungeon friends. Historical records indicate a significant presence of Melungeons in Southwest Virginia. Some records even suggest that these individuals were already well established in the area as early as the 17th century. Around the same time, the Roanoke colony vanished. Coincidence? Maybe. Maybe not. Let's delve into the theories. One of the most fascinating postulates that the lost colony of Roanoke didn't disappear, but rather migrated. And their destination? You guessed it, Southwest Virginia. This theory suggests that the colonists integrated with local indigenous tribes, adopting their customs, language, and eventually intermarrying. Over time, this merging of cultures could have given rise to a distinct group of mixed-race individuals, the Melungeons. It's a theory that has gained traction, especially considering the Melungeons' unique genetic makeup and the persisting mystery of the lost colony. But it's not all cut and dry. There are critics, of course, who argue against this possibility, citing lack of concrete evidence. And they have a point. The truth is, we can't say for certain. The connection between the lost colony, the Melungeons, and Southwest Virginia remains shrouded in uncertainty. It's a tantalizing puzzle, one that continues to captivate historians and conspiracy theorists alike. So, are we suggesting that the lost colonists ended up in Southwest Virginia and mixed with the indigenous population to become the Melungeons? Well, not so fast. We've saved the best for last. Remember that hook we baited you with at the beginning? It's time to reel it in. Here we are, about to dive into the unexpected, the bizarre, the unanticipated. You've heard about the Melungeons, those mysterious mixed-race people with an uncertain origin. And you've listened to the fascinating tale of the lost colony of Roanoke, that early English settlement that disappeared without a trace. Well, here's where things get really interesting. Recent genetic studies have revealed something extraordinary. There's a connection, a genetic link between the Melungeons and a group of people you might not expect, the Turkish. That's right, the Melungeons, who've been living in the Appalachian region of the United States for centuries, share genetic markers with the people of Turkey. But how could this be, you ask? How could a group of people from the southeastern United States have a connection to a country over 5,000 miles away? That's where our lost colony comes back into play. There's a theory, a tantalizing, mind-boggling theory, that the lost colony of Roanoke wasn't English at all. Instead, it was a Turkish settlement. Consider this. The colony disappeared around the same time that the Ottoman Empire was at its peak. Could it be that the settlers were Turkish explorers who decided to make a new home in the New World? And when things got tough, they didn't disappear. They simply moved inland, becoming the ancestors of the Melungeons. As wild as it sounds, the genetic evidence supports this theory. The connection between the Melungeons and the Turkish is undeniable. It's a twist in the tale that no one saw coming. A twist that changes everything we thought we knew about the lost colony of Roanoke and the Melungeons. So there you have it, folks. The lost colony of Roanoke wasn't lost at all. They were just busy becoming Turkish. Now, isn't that a twist you didn't see coming?